So in this video we'll have a look at an early endgame build for Bladestorm and Bleeding Edge. So this is just my stats. We've got mainly gone into ferocity and a bit of toughness, just so we survive a bit longer. The gear I've got is nothing special. If you want to have a look, just pause it, but again, it's really, we're only 47, so there's nothing very special there. Got a few legendaries, but again, nothing really great, you know, so the gear doesn't really matter too much. I am rocking a lot of heavy gear right now, but I do I aim to go for bruiser gear in the end. So the skills we're running, we'll start with Bladestorm, I guess, since this is the meat of the build. We're gonna run the lower resource cost. You could maybe switch that out with the rage generation killed by enemies, killed from Bladestorm. That might be better than this, but I haven't tried it yet, so I'm going to try that later tonight. So we'll see what happens with that. The main one you want is this one, Unfettered Determination, so you can move while you're using it. The reason that's, you do take the skill damage reduction, but it's good because you can just literally circle the bosses and enemies, and it's, you know, it's pretty good in that regard. So it's better to take the damage reduction, and then you can just circle enemies and they can't really do much to you. Then we've got the crit damage increase, pretty self-explanatory. This one's very important, cascading rhythms. So when you crit with this, it will increase the tick rate. Generally, before you get this, Bladestorm's not that good. It's good, don't get me wrong, but this pretty much doubles the damage on it. The tick rate really goes up, it's very noticeable, so always take this no matter what. And then the last one is just increases the critical chance of Bladestorm. You can also, if you're not 47 yet, if you want to replace this, go with this. Increases your attack critical chance score when an enemy is killed by Bladestorm. So you'll get more crit the more enemies you kill. I've literally just unlocked this now, so I'm gonna try this because it's just a flat crit bonus, which it is 4% bonus. Like, we have 49% without it and 53% with it. So that's kind of what I'm gonna try for Bladestorm. The other main skill is Bleeding Edge. It's up to you what you want to do with this skill, honestly, because the way I'm running it is I'm running it so it circles me. So that's what this does. The axe continues to spin for a longer duration, but it costs a lot more rage, but it's worth it in my opinion. The skill duration is plus 4 seconds, and you don't have to stand there then as well. This is the other one, so this is the one that circles around you, but you will take a hit on the damage, but again, it's worth it because while you're using Bladestorm, it will follow you around, so you're dealing like double damage. You know what I mean? You've got two skills going, so it's pretty good. I only generally use Bleeding Edge though when I'm fighting something tough. For the trash mobs, Bladestorm's generally good enough just to kill everything. Again, critical damage, more damage, and then this will negate the 15% here, so we get a bit more, we get the damage back basically. I don't know what I had before that if you're a bit lower, but there will be something. But that's what I'm running now, so once you've got all your points, that's what I'm going to try. Then we've got the other abilities, so we've got Wings of Ishmir. This is just like the initiator, just to dive in. So what I'm running on this, we want the damage buff per enemy's hit. So why you would use that is because we have this as well. Twisting Harbinger, which pulls all the enemies in where you jump. So that's gonna blend with this very well. We've also got this as well, which just gives you a flat damage buff, so you get 2 damage buffs from this as an initiator. And then I don't really know what to put the last point on, so I've just put it on critical chance score. So pretty much the last point is open for whatever you like. Generally I wouldn't take this because you're not going to be killing things with this generally. It's generally just to dive in, and that's it really. You do get a bit of rage generation as well, so you might want to take the extra rage gen, but with the build we're running, I don't think 37 rage is really worth it. So like I said, the last point's kind of up to you what you want to do. Just another thing to note, that there is a stun available, but with the Sovereign Shout, which is my next ability, it doesn't really seem to stack, so you can't, from what I've tested, which I've only tested it a little bit, it doesn't really stun a lot of the enemies. Like once they're stunned and then you use the shout, it doesn't really re-stun them, or at least not in my experience. But I am going to test that a bit more today and see if it's worth maybe swapping one of the damage buffs out for the stun. So maybe if you're struggling with survivability, test that out. The next one is Sovereign Shout, which this is just our rage generator really, and it's also got a stun. So it's a rage generator and a stun. So generally what we'll do, we'll dive in with this, set Bleeding Edge going, and then do a stun and more rage generation. Then we'll generally gain back the rage what we've used on Bleeding Edge, and we'll get it back with Sovereign Shout. What else? So with this we're going to have 5% to all resist. This is a good one as well, Blood Drunk. This allows you to, when you shout, it'll give you some HP back. So that's the idea behind that. You can also take, where is it? Global Life Leech as well. You can get a buff on that. The other one is a buff to critical chance. Obviously, critical is really good. And like I said, we've got the stun as well. So that's what I'm running with that. We do have a spare point, which I've just noticed, because I literally, before I'm just making this, I've just leveled, so I unlocked all the points. So we could go with rage generation again. Duration of all buffs. I suppose it's up to you what you want to go with on that. I would probably say rage generation. We'll try that. And then the last ability we've got is Blood for Blood, which is, I'll only use this if I'm fighting a boss or something that's really tough. Increases the damage over time dealt to enemies in the area of Blood for Blood. We've also got health regen as well per enemy hit, so that's going to, you know, blend well with Bladestorm. If there's a lot of ads or anything, just drop this on yourself and you'll get a nice chunk of regeneration. Blood for Blood's area of effect follows the target it was used on. That's a very important one, because then you can just put it on yourself and it'll follow you. So literally you're going to have Bleeding Edge following you, you're going to have Bladestorm going, and this, which will be dealing, you know, increased damage. You'll get regen there. Increases your resource generation while inside Blood for Blood's area of effect. So I don't know 100% yet if this stacks with like Bladestorm and stuff, but generally you will throw in a normal attack here and there, so it'll help with that to get, you know, more generation back, more rage. This increases the ailment chance score of Blood for Blood. We also need this. This is an important one. This is what makes it worth using. It's kind of lackluster until you get the skill duration. So I would recommend definitely picking this one up, skill duration. And let's try that again. Reduce the resource cost of Blood for Blood by 18. So you could maybe mix this up a little bit. If you see something else you like, you could maybe drop this and maybe drop this for now. I do want to go into an ailment build, because literally this build is just all power. It's not about bleeds or anything like that. It's just crit as hard as you can, and, you know, up the critical damage as much as you can. And with the gear we've got, we're less than optimized because we don't have the steel rings, which has got the crit damage on it. So we're nowhere near close to being, you know, maximum damage. Then we go to the skill tree. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, we don't really have many points yet, so I changed this up last night, so it's a little different now. So how you want to line it up, this is just your basic red you know, starting area. You want to line up with critical damage multiplier here. So spin your little circle here until you find this, and then if you want to line it up how I have it on the outside as well, there's willpower regeneration becomes rage regeneration. So once you've got it lined up like that, the ones to go for are critical chance score, pretty self-explanatory, more crit, rage per hit taken, so we get more rage when we get hit, but it's important to take these at the side as well for the rage cost reduction, because that's what we need a lot of. We want to try and find these as much as possible. You could also take this as well. I haven't taken it yet, but if you're kind of having trouble with surviving, you could definitely just take this. If you're thinking, well, what am I going to replace? Well, I've gone with this here, which gives us more material damage, but we can only deal material type damage. So that is physical, toxic, and rend or bleed damage. So you could maybe just not take this. This is one thing that you can maybe get rid of in your tree if you don't have a good weapon that has material damage. So just to show you real quick, if you look on the weapon, it says we've got material damage there, so it's just physical and toxic. If you don't have a weapon that's that, I wouldn't recommend taking it. But in the end, if you do want to kind of like stick with this sort of build, I would recommend picking that up, because you're going to get more damage overall, but you have to find the right roll, so that's the thing. So going back to it, so you can probably drop this if you don't have a good weapon, or just take the first three, because what they do is convert the damage from the other elements to material, but you will still be able to deal that damage if you don't take the final node. So that's the only complicated one really, so just think about that. The other important one, which this is the most important for Bladestorm, is the damage. So you get more damage per rage remaining, but that's not the important one, that's the important one. Plus 35 rage generation on kill, so when you're just spinning around killing everything, you will get rage back, so that's why you can go so long with whirlwind then. And then, you know, you can take that as well, an extra 10 rage generation on hit. Another important one, life leech, take the one at the side as well, so you get a little bit more. I've also gone for this, plus 2% damage per enemy within a 4-meter radius. You can also take the things at the side to buff that, but I'm going to do that later because there's bigger things that we need. But you know, just that bit of extra damage for when you've got a lot of enemies around you. The next thing is this. So we now passively regenerate rage instead of willpower, which is big. So you can just, you don't have to like blow your shout right at the start if you don't need to. If you need the stun, obviously you can, which I'm going to show you all this in a minute. We'll do a quick dungeon run or kill a few enemies. The only other thing we've gone for then is up here, which is more just crit chance and then crit damage. So that's the idea behind that. Where to go after that? Well, that's kind of up to you, but for me, and you might even want to just switch this up instead of going for this, because this is, while it's good, I don't think it's really mandatory, at least not right now. If you want more damage and you on more survivability specifically, go for this. So you could rotate this round to here or here, probably here though, and then start getting these. So what's on here is more damage, and then specifically two-handed stuff, because you want to run a two-handed weapon with this. So you've got your two-handed damage there, rend damage as well, which again, in the end, I didn't mention this, you probably want to go for this. So 50% of the physical damage will go into rend damage, so you'll have a chance to deal bleed damage, but like I said earlier, we haven't really gone into wisdom, so we aren't gonna, the chance of inflicting bleed is very low. I think it's like 4% per hit, but again, with Bladestorm it's going to be pretty good even at 4%. But We're going to go into ailments and stuff later when we've got more points and I understand it a bit more. So anyway, as I was saying, you might want to go up here. This is where I'm going to head now. I'm heading this way, all the way down here to get the two-handed stuff. And there's rend damage, but the important ones I think are the block chance. So you get plus 10% block chance with a two-handed weapon. There's also another one there. So you've got two here that are really good. Then you've also got, when you block an enemy attack, you deal 300% weapon damage to the enemy. That's pretty good. And then you can also convert it into rend damage. So you might have a chance to inflict bleed as well. So that's pretty good. This little, you know, area here has got a lot of good stuff. And it's got like block efficiency as well. The other two things here are not very good, but this one's very good. At least from a defensive standpoint. So if you're struggling with survival, just drop this and go into this, I would say. Then the other area to go to is this, which again is to increase your survivability and get more block chance. So that'll give you, you get 1 fortress point every 1.5 seconds and you can have up to 10. But all points are removed when you block. And you get a plus 4% chance to block per fortress point. So I don't know if that's going to be overkill. That's something we need to test because, you know, it might be just too much blocking, and because we shouldn't really be getting hit that much anyway. Not too much, you know. What else is there? This is also another good one. So like I said, I want to go for bruiser gear, and this will give you more health regeneration for every health point, so that's pretty good too. And you can also upgrade this as well, so you'll get even more. After that, I mean, that's going to be a lot of points, you know, all the way down here. You're going to take quite a lot of stuff from this, I assume. Especially if you're going into rend damage, there's more rend damage there and there. Also two-handed damage, bit of survivability. So this is a very, very good little block here. But I'd recommend filling this out next. I might even, you know, bring this round here and then just leave this for later, but I think this is too valuable. It just makes everything a lot easier. And then the final thing I would go for is, where is it? This node, I think. So it triggers a buff when you block. 25% all resist score for you and your allies on block. So that's going to be like the final thing, because it's kind of out of way. We haven't really got any easy way to get there. And honestly, I don't even know if we'd have enough points. But to get to this, you can just run up this way. So we don't have to go all the way around here. It should be shorter to go this way. So that's the idea anyway. Like I said, the only thing you might want to get is this. The regeneration. And hey Freddy and Shokanin, how's it going? Just doing a little build guide real quick. And then I'm going to stream, we're going to stream later. So we'll just do a quick mission just to show you generally how it works. So these are my level now, so generally I would just dive in, bleeding edge, and kill. Then we can just keep going as well. Obviously there's no enemies now. And we kill pretty quick. We're not running out of rage yet. And like I said, you can just circle around the enemies, you can just dive in as well, stun, then do this. If that's a tougher enemy, you can cast Bleeding Edge then. But you want to keep the, you don't really want to use Bleeding Edge when you're doing just trash mobs, if you can help it. Because you will get more rage from the kills that Bladestorm does. So there we use the shout mainly just to either stun or replenish the rage we're missing. And it's a pretty short cooldown as well. So now we'll use blood for blood. Oh, bad timing, no. But he is broken now. So like I said, this is why Bladestorm's pretty good, because you can just, you know, go around him. Just use a potion to be safe.
I can't do that right now.
Then you can just, you know, whack him a few times if need be. Do this again. I should really be using Bleeding Edge more, but I totally forget to use it, honestly. But I'll get into the habit of using it more. The only other thing I forgot to mention just real quick is the skill that you should probably take for your 5th slot is Juggernaut. So you've got a bit more survivability. That's what I'm going to go for anyway. The only other thing that might be decent is Warpath. Once you get the 17 skill, you can keep it pressed and it's just you can charge through the map. So if you want a bit more movement speed, go with Warpath. If you want more survivability, go with Juggernaut. And just another thing to mention, which is a downer for this build, but it's not really. You cannot use the potion while you're spinning. So if you know, taking a lot of damage, just get to safety and then use a potion and then go back in. Because I had it where I was trying to spam a potion while spinning thinking it's Diablo, and it's not. It's really not. So it's, like I said, it's a fairly straightforward build. There's definitely going to be ways to make it better. You want to prioritize crit and crit damage, so you want steel rings with good rolls if you can find them, and a good two-hander, which I haven't found a good two-hander yet. I've got really unlucky this time around, like finding good stuff. So we put blood for blood on them. They die a bit quicker now. Although I should have put it on myself, but because the other guy wasn't in it, but it's alright. We'll just wrap this up real quick.
Gotta catch my breath.
That's a weird bug as well with this. The yellow lines, I don't know if you guys have got that as well. When you put the map on. Kinda weird. I'm so used to using the shout as well to stun, because I'm not used to having the rage yet. But generally you should be able to dive in, no problem. You shouldn't die from just diving in. And then, you know, either just cast Bleeding Edge or just start Bladestorming. So we're nearly done here, just need like a couple more enemies. And that's it. So it's not bad, like I say, there is some changes that you can make that will make it better, but I just don't have the points right now to do it, you know. So if you do want to change it up a little bit, like I said, the main thing to go for would probably be this tree if you want a bit more damage early. But if you want convenience and, you know, maybe ease of play, if you want to put it that way, go for this. That's what I'm trying for now anyway. I might change my mind later on tonight and do this. So I hope that helps you guys. I will be streaming tonight as well, but I've got stuff to do now. So I hope that helped. If you've got any questions, let me know. And if you think there's anything that needs changing, or you think could be better, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys tonight.